The NBA is finally back, and every time it comes back, I'm happy because I don't have to watch my Falcons and Desmond Ridder play football anymore. Instead, I get to watch Trae Young shoot tour dates from the field. But hey, I won't have it any other way. Quinn Snyder got the ball moving and got them boys playing good basketball, and we're here for it. Unfortunately. But luckily in that division, Trae Young is not the only one shooting court dates because LaMelo Ball exists in the NBA too. But at least the Hornets don't look stupid for taking Brandon Miller over Scoot Henderson, like I low-key thought they would, but we'll get into that later. But back to the Hornets as a franchise. The most exciting thing going on is the whole Kai Jones saga, and he's not even on the team. And also Mr. Beast. The Heat are the most confusing team in the NBA. Tyler Hero's playing his butt off, but they still don't move the needle for me in the regular season. But does it really matter? Jimmy Butler is a different monster in the postseason, so I don't really know how to judge this team. But I don't think anyone does because Heat fans really don't exist. The Wizards are not a basketball team. I'm sorry. You got Jordan Poole doing this, Jordan Poole doing that, Kyle Kuzma doing this, Kyle Kuzma doing that, plus them not having an actual basketball player throughout the rest of that roster. And with all due respect, they picked the worst year to start the rebuild because I do not know a single player in this draft class, and it hasn't been a draft like that for me in a minute. But hey, maybe wait it out for Cooper Flag, I guess. The Magic are the only team in the division with nothing but green flags on the roster after being a laughingstock for damn near the whole 2010s decade. Paolo Banchero started off slow, but it's coming back slowly. We have to remember that progression is not linear, and this team is still extremely young and are in a great spot. An example of progression not being linear is Scottie Barnes, who has finally taken a leap after being literally the exact same player for 2 years in a row. But the Raptors are kind of just existing right now, still enjoying the minuscule highs of that 2019 championship. But if Scottie Barnes continues to improve, then y'all should be happy, regardless if the playoffs happen or not. The 76ers had to deal with first Ben Simmons and then James Harden, but for the second time, they found a way to remove all the distractions again, and hopefully Tyrese Maxey doesn't do it next, because the way he's been playing, if he keeps it up, the 76ers really aren't going nowhere. Despite all the shameless hating and comparing y'all like to do, Embiid is still playing at an MVP caliber level, but you know who else is? Julius Randle. Okay, let me stop. Julius Randle is playing garbage basketball. I'm talking about unbearable. I'm talking about poor. I'm talking about unsatisfactory. Every word that you can find in the thesaurus, that's how bad he is playing. And the Knicks are feeling it. It's rough because Jalen Brunson is someone who continues to get better every year and is playing his ass off. And dudes like RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and Emmanuel Quickly are helping the wounds, and this team could be dangerous when Randle remembers how to play All-NBA basketball again. But in all seriousness, someone who's playing at an All-NBA caliber level right now is Jason Tatum. Him and the Celtics are rolling. Kristaps is an all-star. Jaylen Brown still has one hand. I mean, he is still an all-NBA player. They basically have 4 all-stars and should pretty easily be the favorites out the East. Now the Nets. Cam Thomas. Do I have to say much more? Cam Thomas is him. This man is a scoring machine and is literally the only reason the Nets are worth watching. How good can this man become because he's only 22 and he's playing at an insane level? But also shout out Ben Simmons. What has he done? He's playing basketball. You know, he's playing basketball, which has been the number one thing right now. Play basketball. I mean, you didn't even play last year, so shout out to him, I guess. I don't know. Damian Lillard hasn't been the greatest. He had a crazy first game, and after that kind of fell off. He just turned 33 and may be facing the downward spiral of his career, but I don't think he is. New team after being a Blazer for 11 seasons. He'll catch his groove soon. Giannis is slightly worse as expected, but luckily for him, he's still a top 5 player. But I do expect both of these guys to pick up and watch them become real East contenders. Tyrese Halliburton is really good. The Pacers are really fast. They rebuilt this team the best way they could, and it's going to be fun to see if they can make a playoff push. Chicago is holding on to this team for what? I hate the fact that they think Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are the answers. It's obviously not, and it's time to blow it up. Do you want to wait till next year because of this upcoming draft? I don't know, but for God's sake, for the sake of Chicago fans, it's time to blow it up. I feel so bad for them. Do y'all know that this lineup isn't good for them, and they have to sit there and root for the same Chicago team every single year for the past I don't know how many years? Come on, Chicago, blow it up. The Pistons are a basketball team. Are they any good? No. But Cade Cunningham looks really good. Jalen Duren has looked really good. Lasar Thompson is a menace to society, and if he finds a jump shot, the league is done. And Pistons fans should be relatively happy right now. Just focus on growth, man. The Cavs are in a weird situation. Evan Mobley offensively is still the exact same player he was as a rookie, and with this team dealing with lingering issues, they really need him to take that jump, and he hasn't. He's supposed to be the center of the future. But hey, Donovan Mitchell is playing some of the best basketball of his career, so hang your hat on that. This team is still going to be a really good regular season team. LeBron James is in year 47, and he is still a top 10 player in the whole entire world. What type of sense does that make? I first got into basketball in like 2016, 2015, and I used to think that, oh my God, I missed it. I missed the Heat LeBron because I wasn't watching basketball like that when he was on the Heat. So when I started watching basketball, he was already 30. Everybody knows that one tweet. Thank God LeBron is only 30. It won't go on for much longer. It's been going on for another 8 years. And I got a little secret. If he's not your GOAT, you don't know ball. I'm sorry. But that's a conversation for another video. Actually, it won't be. That conversation kind of played out. But unfortunately for him, AD is probably out there injured somewhere. But somebody who's actually really old and doesn't really feel like it is Steph Curry. Steph Curry is 35. And Steph Curry is doing the same thing that I just praised LeBron for doing. Steph Curry is top 5 in the NBA, and he's 35. We've seen the decline of Draymond, and we've seen the decline of Klay. But Steph Curry is the exact same player he was 7 years ago. And the Warriors are winning games. And even though it feels like the dynasty is over, if Steph Curry is playing, I feel like they have a chance. Klay Thompson said the same thing too. Another dude that's playing crazy basketball at another old age is KD. And it's wild to see that all the players that I grew up with are still putting up these crazy numbers. And I wonder if that's going to be the new norm. Players are taking a lot more care of their bodies, so hopefully we get to see all the young NBA players that we see now play for a long time. But the Suns haven't got off to the best start. Devin Booker hasn't played much, but he looks really good when he does play. And Bradley Beal hasn't touched the court at all either. And we all know their depth wasn't going to be that strong, so we really can't make too many assumptions on this team. But Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant, and that's one thing that you can be happy for right now. The Clippers. Kawhi is still Kawhi. Paul George is playing his ass off right now. And we all know that they just picked up James Harden. And I'm kind of scared. I'm going to be honest. I'm sorry. I don't want to be the one that said it, but I'm kind of scared because Harden came out and said that he's a system. Harden thinks this is still 2018. Nobody. You have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on your team. You are the third option. This Clipper team already deals with health problems, but I think the two stars are committed to being there for the team, which is big. And as a Kawhi Leonard fan and a Paul George fan, I want to see them win. I want to see Paul George get him a ring. But I'm scared that James Harden is going to have another saga because he's had one for the last 3 teams. I hope James Harden plays his role and doesn't sabotage his team like he damn near has done the last 3. Now the Kings. What is there to really say about the Kings? De'Aaron Fox has been hurt. Domantas Sabonis has been Domantas Sabonis. Keegan Murray just needs to be better. Even though he was never supposed to be a big-time all-star level player, he was still the 4th pick. So let's see a little bit more from him. And I appreciate Mike Brown trying to bring that out of him. I don't know if y'all seen that, but Mike Brown expects a lot from him. So now I do too. Victor Wembanyama. Do I need to say more? Do I really need to say anything less? Barring injuries, Victor Wembanyama will be a top 10 player by his 4th season. Barring injuries, the Spurs will be in the Western Conference Finals by his 3rd season. That's a hot take, and I'm here for it. If they can find a way to get him the ball more consistently, especially when he's running that, when he's sprinting down the court fast, all looking like a gazelle and stuff, nobody can stop him. Greg Popovich held off his retirement just for Wemby. Greg Popovich is 70 years old with like 5 championships. He didn't have to do that, but he did that for a reason. Victor Wembanyama, I don't need to say much else. The Rockets. If you watched my last video, I had really high hopes for them. They spent a lot of money and picked up some really nice pieces that I think is really good for them. They have a point guard now, and even though he misses a lot, he's a facilitator. He's averaging like 9 assists, and that's great for that Rockets team. That's something that they needed. I wanted to see Jalen Green make a jump, and he really hasn't, but he's still a young player. But Dylan Brooks is a good basketball player. I've been saying that for a little minute. If you take away the antics, he's a really good basketball player. I don't know why they try to frame him like he's not. I wasn't a fan of the antics, but he's not a bad basketball player. Amen Thompson, he's kind of shaky, but he's dealing with injuries. I don't see a world where he's not good. He's an insane basketball player. The Mavericks. Luka Doncic is also an insane basketball player, but nobody's surprised about that. Surprised about this team is Kyrie. He's averaging the 3rd least points per game in his career, and he's not as efficient as he usually is, but it's still early in the season. I expect him to slowly catch on because the Mavericks team is winning games, and Derek Lively looks really good. They're going to need Kyrie if they really want to compete in the West because it's tough out there. The Grizzlies suck. John Morant is a huge part of that system, which sounds kind of weird to say, but it's true. And without those 2 huge glue guys, it's tougher to win games. I honestly think at this point, it may be best for them to try and kind of take a down year, use this moment to kind of build back up a really strong roster in the draft and in free agency. You still don't have wing play. Build that bench up a little bit more because realistically, even if John Morant is playing, you're not going to win the championship. Nobody really have y'all winning the championship. So it's like, use this year to kind of like build up, kind of like how the Warriors did that 1 year when they were bad. Kind of retool a little bit. And who knows, the job suspension could be a blessing in disguise. The Pelicans are playing good basketball, but I hate the way that they use Zion. Is that an unpopular take? They have him running a lot of ISO, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't think that's how you should use him. I think he should be moving off ball, moving off screens. I don't think he's that good of an ISO player, and it's kind of showing up in the stats. He's averaging a career low in points since his rookie season, and it feels like he's missing that burst. But the Pelicans are winning games, so I guess that all that really matters. Hopefully Zion can get back to that 26 point per game range. Shea hasn't skipped a beat and still averaging a whole lot of points, and he's even improved as a playmaker. Chet is a poor man's Wemby. Don't think that's a diss. You feel me? He fits the team so well, and then you include everyone else. The Thunder probably have the best young core in the league. Anthony Edwards is a superstar. He's inevitable. But that's not the thing. We're not worried about Anthony Edwards. What are we going to do with Cat, man? If y'all don't know this, Cat was a very highly touted player just 5-6 years ago, and now he sucks. Okay, I'm pushing it, but he's been bad. Him and Rudy working together could be the difference between this team being a 6, 7, 8 seed to a top 3 seed. Is that pushing it? I don't think so. At the time of this recording, the Nuggets have 1 loss and the Celtics have 1 loss too. 2 teams at the top of their conferences, 2 teams that are the favorites. They both have 1 loss, and that 1 loss is to the Timberwolves. Cat, come on, man, I need you. I'm pulling for Anthony Edwards because he's a Georgia boy, so I'm a bit of a Timberwolves fan too, and I know that 25 point per game Cat is still in there, so hopefully we can see it. The Jazz. What can I say about the Jazz? I don't know. It's the Jazz. No disrespect to them. I mean, Lauri Markkanen is good, but it's the Jazz. I mean, they picked up John Collins. He's cool, I guess. But they have like 4 starting level bigs with no point guard. Their first round pick from this past year, he's another big. So now that you have John Collins, you have Walker Kessler, you have Lauri Markkanen, there's no space for him, and you use a top 10 pick on him. They don't even have a point guard, a real point guard. So now you have your top 10 pick right on the bench. I mean, what do the Jazz have going on? Somebody let me know. I don't know if Jazz fans exist, but please, somebody let me know. Scoot Henderson is bad. People are going to be like, oh, he's just a rookie, you're being too hard. Yeah, I know. I'm not trying to be harsh. He's been bad. If we're just looking at him as a player, he's been bad. I'm not saying that his career is over, but he's been bad. He's been really bad. The Blazers were ecstatic when they noticed that the Hornets were going to pick up Scoot over Brandon Miller just for him to start off his NBA career bad. But like I said, back to the original point, he's just a rookie. He's a point guard, one of the hardest positions to play. They gave him the keys. I'm not worried about him. I still see the potential. I still think he'll be good. You just got to give him some time to learn the NBA game. He'll be just fine. Trust. Last but not least, saving the best for last, the Denver Nuggets. Jokic is still doing crazy things. And it's crazy to watch every single day. It makes no sense how he does what he does at such a high level, and he's easily the best player in the world right now. And the Nuggets are my favorites. They only have 1 loss. They're rolling right now, and now Jokic is going to be in MVP discussions again. Denver Nuggets are in basketball and NBA heaven. Shout out to them. And that's every NBA team in less than 30 seconds. Let me know your thoughts about your favorite NBA team more in depth in the comments. Unlike this video, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. The NBA is back. We're back. A lot of basketball is coming. Trust me, man. We're here. It's time to get to it, man. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out, man. Peace.